Last Monday, on May 18th, Wizards of the Coast released a massive banned and restricted update. 5 cards banned across 4 formats, as well as 3 cards unbanned across 2 formats. Notably, 0 cards were banned in Standard, Magic's primary competitive format. Modern, on the other hand, received the largest shakeup, with 2 bans and 2 unbans apiece to prepare the format for the upcoming Modern RCQ season. Flage, Titan of Fire's Fury, and Lotus Field have been banished from the format in a move designed to nerf both Boros Energy and Amulet Titan. Meanwhile, Cascade Deck Linchpin Violent Outburst was returned back to its natural habitat, making it one of the briefest inhabitants of the Modern ban list ever. It spent a total of 798 days behind bars. On the other end of the spectrum, a card that had literally never spent a single day legal in Modern was suddenly released into the wild. Umezawa's Jite, the infamous equipment from Betrayers of Kamigawa, is now Modern legal. The full implications of these bans and unbans remain to be seen, but the subject of bannings got me thinking. Are there any other bans that should have been made? What should have maybe been banned in Standard? What about Pauper? So for today's video, I've set myself a challenge. Name one card from each of Magic's formats that I have to ban. Pretend that there's a unalive device being held to my head, and I absolutely have to pick one card from each format to ban, even if I feel that that format might be currently healthy or is in a good equilibrium. No excuses, there's an unalive device to my head, so I gotta ban one card from every format. But what card? We'll of course be covering formats like Standard and Commander, the big ones like Modern. I'll even be talking about Legacy and Pauper, but I want to pepper in some lesser known formats as well. Cover as much as I can. One card from each of these formats must be banned. Are you ready? Unalive device to my head, what's one card from each format that I would ban? Well, let's find out. But first, did you manage to get yourself a Goblin Secret Lair Commander deck last Monday? Well, if you didn't, then guess what? On my next Whatnot stream, I am giving away 5, that's right, 5 Strixhaven Collector Booster Boxes on my next Whatnot stream. It's this Monday, Memorial Day, the 25th at 11 a.m. on Whatnot. Look, I didn't get the damn Commander deck either. It sold out in like 18 minutes. What crap. So whatever, I'm giving away 5 Collector Booster Boxes instead. Hey, editor, what's a Strixhaven Collector Booster Box going for? Whoa, wow, I guess if you win one of these, you could sell it and use the money to buy a Goblin Storm Commander deck, except don't do that, because say it with me, scalpers. Don't you dare sell one of these just to buy a Goblin Secret Lair Commander deck on the secondary market. Just open it up, there's cool stuff inside, and hang out with me, the professor, on my next Whatnot stream where I'm giving away 5 of these. I'll even throw in a codex. That's right, it was easier for me to get a codex, thank you Micro Center for sending me one, than it was for me to get a Secret Lair Goblin Commander deck. Scalpers. Whatnot is just like if Twitch and eBay had a baby. I get to stream cool items that I'm selling or auctioning off or giving away. There's a lot of cool things in my store, like signed items and booster packs. And even if you don't want to buy anything, you can still talk with me as we hang out and I give away all these cool items. I got some other goodies too I'm giving away. Plus, I'm giving away $15 to spend on Whatnot on Magic items in my or any store when you create a brand new account by going to www.whatnot.com/invite/Tolarian College. So you get $15 of Magic stuff and maybe you'll walk away with some free giveaways. I know it's not the Goblin Secret Lair Commander deck, but best I can do is 5 Collector Booster Boxes of Strixhaven and a Codex. Thank you, Whatnot, for sponsoring this video. Before I cover which card I would ban from each of Magic's main formats, let's run through some rapid-fire bans in Magic's more fringe formats. Obviously, I won't spend as long on these formats because most of you probably don't even know what they are. First up, Pioneer. Wizards of the Coast banned Corey Steelcutter from Pioneer on Monday, which was an excellent choice. I was going to offer that my pick for what card in Pioneer to ban would be Corey Steelcutter again, just to make sure it sticks, but the person with the unalive device pointed at my head said, no, pick something else. Well, Greasefang's been putting up a lot of results in Magic Online recently, particularly the no-green version that relies on Monument to Endurance as the backup plan. Now, I actually really love Abzan Greasefang because it reminds me of my favorite standard deck of all time, French Rites. But this pure Orzhov version is a totally different vibe. It's not like French Rites at all. You play all these 2-mana creatures that discard cards on demand to protect themselves in order to set up your turn 3 Parthelion. Or you play a Monument on turn 3 and turn your instant speed discards into fresh cards, treasure tokens, or direct damage. The backup plan is extremely difficult to interact with, since all the creatures protect themselves, and within a few turns, the Monument will kill your opponent all on its own. And I don't like that. That's not what Greasefang is about. So in the interests of maintaining Greasefang's spiritual integrity, Monument to Endurance is the card that I would ban from Pioneer. Since WotC beat me to it by banning Corey Steelcutter, I swear we were producing this video as the bans came out, but whatever, it's Pioneer, who cares? Moving on to another fringe but rapidly growing in popularity format, let's talk Premodern. In fact, Premodern is a format I love. I highly recommend it, and I have a video all about what it is and how to play it, how to build decks for it here, and linked in the video description. And I even played it on Shuffle Up and Play with Andrea Mengucci and Reed Duke. You can check that episode out as well. But what would I ban in Premodern? Well, tackling Dreadnought would be most people's obvious answer here, but considering the success of Replenish decks despite the ban of Parallax Tide earlier this year, my choice for a ban for Premodern is Abeyance. Abeyance is a 2-mana instant that shuts off all avenues of interaction for your opponent while you combo off for the win, removing any ability to combat the potent Opalescence plus Parallax Wave combo. It even draws you a card. Now, I'm not saying I think this card needs a ban, but unalive device to my head, yeah, that's my pick for Premodern. Next up, I wanted to briefly talk about one of those arena-only formats, like Arena Brawl, but I don't really play that, and neither does anyone on staff, including our writers. So we just asked Amy, the Amazonian, what she'd ban if she had an unalive device to her head, and she sent us this video, where she's literally holding a prop unalive device to her head, and we absolutely cannot show that video, and she really did this. It's crazy, like Amy, but here's what she'd ban: unalive device to her head.
I play a lot of Brawl, and it would be great if they banned a bunch of cards in the format. But if you made me choose just one card to ban in all of Brawl, I think I'd pick Force of Will. Force of Will is a free counterspell, and let me tell you, being tapped out used to mean something. Now every blue card draw deck is just filling up their hand and exiling a single card, paying a life, and stopping me and everybody else out there from casting their spells using Force of Will. Sure, we've got Daze and Subtlety and Active Negation, but those are all a little worse than the GOAT Force of Will, so please just ban it from the format, and about 20 other cards while you're at it.
All right, it's time to move on to Magic's major formats, the real formats. First up, we have Modern, the format most affected by the announcement. You could say that this means I shouldn't be banning an additional card at all, that I should be waiting to see how the format shakes out before making any more changes to it. But to that I say, there's an unalive device pointed at my head. I gotta pick another ban. What do you want me to do? Frankly, I think I could make a pretty good argument for immediately rebanning Violent Outburst. That's not because the card is too powerful, necessarily, but because it creates unfun play patterns. There are few experiences more miserable in Modern than the turn 3 end of turn Violent Outburst, backed up by a Force of Negation. But even if it wasn't arguably cheating to reban the card that just got unbanned, I would still like to give Violent Outburst a chance. A lot has changed in Modern since the initial Outburst ban a little over 2 years ago, including the release of Modern Horizons 3. 4 of the 5 most played decks in Modern right now did not exist when Violent Outburst was banned, so I want to see what will happen now that the infamous Cascade enabler is back on the menu. No, the card I would ban in Modern is is one that actually has worse play patterns than Violent Outburst, Neoform. Neoform is a 2-mana Simic sorcery from Ravnica Allegiance that reads, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the mana value of the sacrificed creature, and put it into play with a +1/+1 counter on it. Then shuffle. Neoform is the key card to one of the most miserable decks currently in Modern. Normally, this would be a subjective descriptor, but not in the case of Neoform. For years, Neoform was Modern's premier turn 1 kill deck. With Allosaurus Rider, Chancellor of the Tangle, Neoform, a land, and any other green card, the deck could put Grizzlebrand into play before your opponent even made their first land drop. From there, you draw your deck with Grizzlebrand using Nourishing Shoal to gain life, and then eventually win somehow. The deck was only kept legal by virtue of being incredibly inconsistent. It lost to itself all the time. Prone to mulliganing into oblivion or fizzling out mid-combo, and dying to its own Summoner's Pact triggers, the deck was never really a serious contender in Modern back in its all-in combo days. But now, Neoform is no longer really a combo deck. It's a fair deck. The goal of Neoform isn't to draw your deck. It's to put a turn 1 Grizzlebrand or Galta Stampede Tyrant into play and back it up with Pact of Negations. You can freely Pact of Negation whatever you'd like, because the deck now runs 4 main deck copies of Consigned Memory to counter the lose to gain triggers on upkeep. You also get to run a bunch of green modal double-face lands that can be pitched to your Allosaurus Rider. Thank you very much, Modern Horizons 3. So while Neoform is not the best deck in Modern, it is the most egregious deck in Modern. And unalive device held to my head, Neoform is the card I'd pick to ban from the format. And let's be real here, no one would be sorry to see this card disappear. Moving on to one of, if not my very favorite format ever, Pauper, I actually think Pauper is in a really healthy place right now, and that it doesn't need bans, not even of those Universes Beyond cards that are annoying a lot of players, but we have to name a ban, so what's it gonna be? Writhing Chrysalis is a 4-mana colorless Eldrazi in Gruul colors, as in it costs Gruul mana, but it's devoid. It's got reach and begins as a 2/3, though that stat line is incredibly misleading. When you cast Writhing Chrysalis, create 2 0/1 Eldrazi spawn tokens that can be sacrificed for a colorless mana. And anytime you sacrifice a spawn, put a +1/+1 counter on the Chrysalis. Writhing Chrysalis was the scourge of Modern Horizons 3 Limited, an utterly broken common that warped games around it. It's therefore no wonder the card is also great in Pauper. Packing tons of value into a single card and difficult to answer cleanly out of sideboard, Writhing Chrysalis is one of the biggest headache cards in the format. Because it has Devoid, it can't be destroyed by a Hydroblast, and because the spawn generation is a cast trigger, it's far less vulnerable to counter magic than a typical sorcery speed 4-drop would be. You can easily cast Chrysalis on turn 2 with the Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl synergy, which means on turn 3 you'll have access to 8 mana. Imagine playing against Ponza on the play, and on your opponent's turn 3 you get both your lands stone-rained by a pair of Acid Mosses while their Chrysalis jumps to 4 power. And on top of it all, Chrysalis has Reach, which helps to shore up one of the natural weaknesses reachless green decks have: a vulnerability to flyers. With the Chrysalis in play, you're protected against Fairy Seers in the air that could otherwise turn into Ninjas of the Deep Hours on the combat step. Writhing Chrysalis only sees play in Gruul-based ramp decks, but there are many, many variations on this kind of deck. Jund Wildfire, Gruul Ponza, and even Go Tall Gruul aggro decks ramping into boarding parties. In these decks, Chrysalis is an auto-include, a windmill slam 4 of regardless of what else you plan to play with your forests and mountains. No, Writhing Chrysalis isn't broken, but it is very strong and incredibly difficult to interact with. It's also the kind of thing that Gruul decks don't need. They're just happy to have. Banning Chrysalis won't push Gruul decks out of the format, it'll just make them less homogeneous across archetypes. Exactly what you'd want out of a ban like this one. For these reasons, and because there's an unalive device pointed at my head apparently, Writhing Chrysalis is my pick for what to ban in Pauper. Good riddance to yet another Modern Horizons 3 travesty. If you're curious why I did not pick Ultra Monitor, or the several other Universes Beyond Pauper cards causing problems in Pauper, you can watch my full detailed video on that subject here and linked in the video description. And let it at least be said that even with an unalive device to my head, I am going to be very fair and logical about which cards I pick to be banned. Alright, we've covered Magic's most affordable format, so let's cover its least. Well, no, not vintage, but we're going to talk about Legacy. Legacy only received a single change on Monday, the banning of Undercity Informer, one of 2 enablers for the Oops All Spells combo that abuses modal double-face lands in order to mill your whole deck. As far as I'm concerned, that's a great ban. The ban I'll be hitting Legacy with, though, is in the far other end of the spectrum. We won't be banning a combo card today. Instead, I'll be choosing to ban an outrageous fair card, Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Tamiyo is a ridiculous 1-mana creature/planeswalker hybrid from, say it with me, folks, Modern Horizons 3. Her creature side is a great card advantage engine for interactive blue decks, making clues whenever she attacks. That alone isn't reason to ban her, though. No, the reason Tamiyo is ban-worthy in Legacy is because of her other half. See, in order for Tamiyo to flip into a planeswalker, you need to draw 3 cards in a single turn, and there's no format easier to pull that off in than Legacy, whose entire identity revolves around a little 1-mana blue instant from Ice Age. That's right, Brainstorm. Brainstorm was already one of the best cards in Legacy before Modern Horizons 3, but now that Tamiyo is in the format, this ridiculous card draw spell also has the line of text, flip any Tamiyo Inquisitive Students you happen to have in play. Legacy is not a format particularly well equipped to answer planeswalkers in general, let alone ones as low to the ground as Tamiyo is. Once she flips, it's only a matter of time before she ultimates and you draw half your deck. And even when she's not racing towards her ultimate, simply rebuying Flow States, Thoughtseizes, or yes, Brainstorms with her -3 ability every few turns is a ton of value for a planeswalker you, again, only invested a single mana into in the first place. Now, if there wasn't an unalive device being held to my head, I might not ban Tamiyo right this second. She's certainly the most dangerous threat in the format, but it's not like blue Tamiyo decks are totally dominating the field. Is it Delver lists without Tamiyo are almost as popular as the slower controlling Tamiyo decks, and there are many other viable Legacy decks in a wide variety of archetypes. But while for the moment Legacy seems relatively healthy, the interaction between Tamiyo and Brainstorm is absolutely a broken one. Premise of this video aside, I genuinely believe it's a question of when, not if, Tamiyo will be banned in Legacy. Alright, we're down to the last 2 major Magic the Gathering formats that I have to ban 1 card from each, Commander and Standard. You've been waiting the whole video to hear about this. Let's just do Commander next. For Commander, the card that I would ban is Rhystic Study. Alright, moving on to Standard, if I had an what? You want more? What more do you want? It's Rhystic Study. You know what this card is. You know why it's a problem, and you probably agree with me that it needs to be banned. Rhystic Study is an absurd card draw engine that was never intended for Commander. It was a 10-cent common for decades before the advent of Commander, and now it's maybe the single most hated card in the format. Get it out of here! Fun fact, Rhystic Study is also the most expensive Pauper legal card. It's not played in Pauper, but Rhystic Study is Pauper legal, and it's also my snap pick for card I would ban in Commander. So yeah, what? You want me to justify it? Rhystic Study? That's my pick for Commander. Let's talk Standard. The highest played deck at the most recent Pro Tour, Is It Prowess, performed terribly in the event. The deck that won, Landfall, then went on to have a terrible showing at the following weekend's slate of regional championships, while Prowess bounced back to put up a solid win rate. Standard is actually in a really weird spot right now. The meta is extremely diverse, shifting week to week at a rate that's almost unheard of in Magic's flagship competitive format. I've talked about this on the channel before, and it's still true today. On the other hand, many Magic the Gathering players feel the gameplay in Standard is terrible. This is not a universally held option, mind you, but it is a very common one. A diverse metagame is only as good as the play experience is fun. Standard is faster than it's ever been, with games often decided as early as turn 3 or 4. The play-draw disparity is very real, and many matchups in the format are comically lopsided, so what's to be done? Well, that's a hard question to answer. The delicate equilibrium in the Standard metagame is a house of cards. You ban one thing, say Might Form Harmonizer, and all of a sudden the whole format comes crashing down. What's more, there's not a single problem deck in the format. Every deck has a good weekend, and then is pushed back down to the rest of the pile the following weekend. Standard is like the crab bucket mentality in metagame form. Any deck that appears capable of climbing out gets dragged back down by some other jealous crab below it. That said, I do have to ban something, so the obvious choice is Steam Vents. Listen, that'll take care of these Is-It decks, right? All right, I'm not gonna ban Steam Vents, I'm gonna ban something realistic, although, I'm really considering that. Let's talk what we ban from an Is-It deck that isn't Steam Vents. So the one card I would choose to ban from Standard, on a live device held to my head, is Slick Shot Show Off. Is-It Prowess is not a broken deck by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a very powerful deck. And of all the cards in a Prowess deck list, Slick Shot Show Off is the most obnoxious. If your opponent plots a Show Off, they're basically putting you in check for the rest of the game. You can never let down your guard, because at any moment they might cast the Bird Wizard for free and dome you for 100,000 damage after a flurry of non-creature spells. Now, banning Slick Shot Show Off wouldn't necessarily eliminate the Prowess archetype altogether. The deck could pivot into a slower and grindier build, with Drakehatcher as its 2-drop threat of choice, pushing damage through with the reprint of Ancestral Anger from Secrets of Strixhaven. Some Prowess decks are already running a couple copies of Drakehatcher alongside Show Off. Banning Show Off would also address a deck that's not currently relevant in Standard, but is extremely obnoxious to play against whenever it is relevant. Leyline Red, the blisteringly fast glass cannon aggro deck that combines Leyline of Resonance with a variety of pump spells to threaten lethal as early as turn 2. Slick Shot Show Off is the scariest threat out of that deck for the same reason it's a scary threat out of Prowess, except on steroids. It's trivial for a 0-mana Show Off to kill an opponent when a Leyline is on the battlefield. No, I don't think you can save Standard with a single ban, but to save my own self from the Unalive device, the card I'm picking in Standard to ban is Slick Shot Show Off. And with that, it looks like the man holding the Unalive device to my head has put it away, satisfied with the work that I've done here today. What's that? I'm handsome and really, really smart? Thank you, man with the Unalive device. You're not so bad yourself. And what's this? I'm giving away 5 collector booster boxes of Strixhaven and a codex on my next Whatnot stream, and I'm giving you all $15 to spend on Whatnot when you create a new account at www.whatnot.com/invite/Tolarian College. Come hang out with me and get maybe a collector booster box of Strixhaven or a codex, and I've got some other goodies as well. All of that on Memorial Day this Monday at 11 a.m. That's right, May 25th Memorial Day at 11 a.m. on Whatnot. Thank you, Whatnot, for sponsoring this vid. Wait a minute, were they the ones with the Unalive device?
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
I've got a very special deck. This was a plot, a scheme rather.
Our lead director came up to me before shooting and just said, "Prof, just go with it when you see it. Don't start frowning, just go with it, please." They've been trying to troll me with this shit for a month now. They've been going on and on about it, and I don't know what this deck is.
Llanowar Elves.
Oh,
The classic.
6th edition. Your turn.
oh, sixth
edition.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna flash in Gandalf. This is a card art.
Fuck that card. That was the one in the secret lair where it was like 42 cents worth of cards.
So I got loot.
Oh, you got loot too.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, loot times 2.
is 6.
I think I'm starting to hate what you hate.
Yeah.
All of this looks crazy.
You must have just subscribed to Tellurian Community
Yeah,
College.
I think
I am literally going to shuffle up and
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm at 5 time counters, just
Be
so
careful.
you know.
Prof doesn't misplay.
That's right.
Prof does bad plays.
That's like the underside of a female pig.
I'm not even mad. This episode is probably never going to air. This
Like-
I don't even care. How much Magic 30 did you buy?
I don't want to talk about it.
Do I look like I care? I'll just pick a fucking card.
Shut up! Let me ask you this, idiot!
How much better does Soul Ring make, Batman?
This is the kind of. You can do it.
Land the shot.
Smash it. Ooh. Oh my god.
It's the most fucked up card I've ever seen in my life. I have no idea how it works.
I think I'm losing my mind.
When
Jordan's
Captain
on.
America throws his mighty
I was gonna say
shield.
that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I passed.
Cut that out, go ahead.
I passed.
No, cut it out. We can
I
edit
don't
it
care
out.
anymore.
Go ahead.
I don't care.
Do it.
It's your turn, 6 boy.
I thought.
Oh!